back to the world's best fucking podcast. I am Lloyd.
I'm JD.
And this is our new guest. He seems pretty surprised.
I know.
It's
Hi,
always,
sorry.
It's always, and it starts this way, I swear.
My name's Kyle.
Kyle. Mm-hmm. And what do you do, Kyle? Because you were about to tell me, and it just seemed so intricate. I was like, fuck it.
We should just do this on the podcast.
Just do it live.
This will take up the full 20 minutes, probably.
Sweet. Let's do
it. The easiest way to sum it up is that I'm a vlogger. I vlog stuff on YouTube. That is somewhat evolved over the years of like what my topics are. I usually now focus on stuff like what I'm reading, stuff that's in my head, working through my own personal issues on camera to thousands of strangers. That's
brave. Because one thing I've tried to make a vlog video, I know he's tried many times, and he refuses to put his vlogs up because of shame.
Oh, I mean, there is a special type of person who can be really effective, I think, on the first try. Most of the time, people go through at least a dozen videos of being just really cringy, awful content.
Yeah, and not only that, I think sometimes you can get really bad feedback that could also put you off of vlogging.
Can I tell you my favorite hate comment I ever got?
I'd love to hear it. We love those.
We get enough of it, so this will be good.
This is literally in my first year of doing this, and I've been doing this for like 7 years now, I think, at this point. This and podcasting.
Veteran.
Is someone left a comment saying, "If I ever met you in real life, I would stab you until you were dead."
Oh wow,
that is the actual comment.
That's deep, man.
Yeah, that's some top shelf hate.
Get that hate?
I know. I left the comment. I replied saying, "Thanks!" exclamation point.
Yeah, that's all I did. We get similar hate because a lot of people that see me want to smash my face in. I'd say it's a very occurring thing that a lot of people want to kill me, shank me.
Yeah. Although in reality, the comment the other day that you did get was it was interesting because he said the guy in the middle is annoying, and then I said, "Thanks, hope you feel better getting that off your chest," and he's like, about 20 minutes, an hour later, because he had left it about 8 hours ago, said, "Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry. I was really drunk when I posted that."
So I'm annoying when people are drunk.
Yeah.
It's probably the worst time to be annoying because that kid's probably going to snap.
Yeah.
But
wow, all punchy, fisticuffs.
Yeah. But I get similar hate.
Yeah.
I think you have to get, that's the step of getting over. I think it takes a big person to get through that sort of stuff because it can make you look at yourself sometimes, and it can make you.
See, for me, that kind of stuff, that kind of hate never really gets to me all that much. Like the ridiculous, over-the-top hate comments.
Well, obviously, I'm going to stab you to that. That's just kind of like psychopathic.
Yeah, it's like you're crazy.
It's the real personal hate that can sometimes.
Well, it's the stuff that you yourself are like, I know, that you think about. I think is what usually tips the scales a little bit in that regard. Like if someone was to say, it's like you don't have very clear skin and like you can't see. I'm like, oh yeah, well you're right. Like, you can't,
and that can affect you in a huge way, especially when you've got all these people that you don't know commenting on you in such a horrible way. I
don't know how the beauty gurus do it. There's a lot of like beauticians on YouTube that do makeup, and you some of those comments like, God.
I'm not joking. I go to those pages sometimes to read the comments to get over comments that I've gotten because they're still doing what they're doing and they're still making subscribers for what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But they've got so much hate there in the comments, and it doesn't matter. And it just gives you that insight that things can move forward, even though there is this.
And I think when you look to celebrities as well, people who are immensely successful, the Brad Pitts, the Angelina Jolies and stuff like that, they get an immense amount of hate as well. And these are people that have been extremely successful in
but you got millions of dollars to dry your eyes with.
I know. That is always
it's a little easier when you've got bills to cushion your fall.
I know. I would care if I didn't have all this money to make me feel better.
If I wasn't a millionaire, it might hurt my feelings a little bit, but I'm just going to go buy myself a new hat. Yeah.
Have either of you ever left a hate comment for anyone?
No, and that's where I don't understand it, I think. Yeah. And I've never been in that place where I've had the time or the need to, and I don't even leave a good comment sometimes. I have to force myself if I really like the video. It's because I know what it's like. You need that love. You need people to know you're acknowledging. So I do have a certain people on YouTube that I watch and love, and I do leave a comment once in a while still. Sure. And I'm even bad for not liking sometimes because it's just my daily routine to watch their videos. Sometimes I got to go down and hit that like button. People don't realize how much support that actually gives you.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about liking and commenting and how that messes around with the Google algorithm and all that kind of stuff too. So
yeah,
all that stuff helps.
Hate mail is not my thing. Yeah. You will never receive hate mail from me.
Yeah. Maybe it's just on my mind. Have you heard about this show called Black Mirror?
No.
At all? No. It originated in the UK. It's on Netflix now. The 3rd season just came out on Netflix. It's kind of like a, I don't know, Twilight Zone type thing where it's a different story every time with different actors, different directors, different writers and everything. All kind of to do with technology, though. That's kind of the basis of it. But this last episode is all about it. Is all about like hate comments on the internet. Oh, wow. This is probably why it's on my mind here so much. And then, spoiler alert for someone who hasn't seen the 3rd season of Black Mirror yet. But this guy develops this kind of algorithm for, in this really roundabout way, you finally find out that this guy's made this thing where people who've left hate comments end up all dying. He writes his program and stuff. And yeah, they all end up getting killed. 375,000 people in one go. Oh,
wow. See, I'm not going to lie. I sometimes wish that some of these people get hit by trucks, but that's just in the moment because it's, a lot of emotion and just like, wow, how could you say something like that when you don't even know me? But I honestly, it's so easy to hate on the internet. You really just got to get over it and move forward with your life because, we all know we're awesome.
I'll go watch memes. I'll go read some memes for a while.
Yeah, I just played some video games and felt all right afterwards. I'm good at those. I'm a god on there.
That's right. That is true. I'm shooting my trolls in the face.
Yeah. Urban's on. Oh my god. No. That's funny. So, have you ever left hate mail?
Do I?
Constructive criticism is sometimes good, and I do the same thing. I call it the shit sandwich.
Right.
Hey, if I'm going to criticize somebody, I say something good, positive.
Yeah.
I tell them what's not so good, and then I leave with something good. So at least it's like you start good, you end good. You don't feel so bad about hearing the stuff.
In an artistic world, too, you should always find one thing within everything that you like to make everything easier on life. Yeah. It's hard to go through life hating everything.
Yeah. I feel like it must take
find one thing in everything that you can relate to or like, or whether it's artwork or a place you're visiting or anything you're doing, you can put it into to just like one thing about it will make your life so much easier.
Yeah.
And to not always give so much hate out into the world because it comes right back.
Yeah, sure. I agree. I think it's the people who are always criticizing and always hating things. You often see them like just being miserable people all the time. It's like, there's so much energy that you're just wasting on
and to go online and leave a message, I feel like it's even more wasted energy because you totally begin doing something else. At least when you heckle me in the street, it's live.
That's a stupid hat.
I had a guy heckle me once downtown and tell me that me and my girlfriend were swinging our arms too much when we were walking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was literally that long of a heckle too. You're swinging your arms too much. It kind of lost its approach after like, you're kind of, it was just kind of like, just call me a fag and move on. Or like, do what you're going to do. I've been called many names on the street, but I don't know.
I would love the fact that whoever that was like so enraged by this thing. And I was like, I have to slow down and roll down my window and I'm going to yell at this
What's
person.
funny is he did a couple laps down the same road and it was in kind of an obnoxious vehicle so you could hear it. And it's kind of like, why is this guy? And then that was the last thing that he said. And it was just kind of like,
all right.
you know that guy is totally out of control when he's on the internet.
Like, imagine. Right. I know, right? Like, oh my God.
If he's willing to do that in person, I can't even imagine.
He's the guy that's stabbing people online. He's the guy.
He'll be the proverbial skank hunt, for the South Park.
Hunt. Yeah, that's right.
So you talked about how you've gone through like different things that you've vlogged about, and now you've kind of settled into where you vlog about yourself, which I find a lot of veteran vloggers do that.
Yeah.
They start off trying to get those subscribers in stuff they think people are going to be interested in, and it always ends up being just about them and what they're doing in their life, and it ends up having way more impact anyway because people prefer that.
Yeah, I took a lot of inspiration a few years ago from Louis C.K. specifically. He was telling
hilarious.
He was telling this story specifically about George Carlin.
Yeah.
And George Carlin, who I also really liked growing up, would basically write his show and then at the end of the year would delete everything and start fresh again. And Louis C.K. heard this story apparently one night on the radio, and he was kind of just starting out. He's like, but I've been doing the same jokes for like 3 years. Like, I can't even imagine what it would be like to just start fresh every year.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to do it because I hate what I'm doing right now. I still want to be a comedian, but I just hate myself and what I'm producing. So he cleared everything off, wrote something fresh, and every year he said, nope, delete everything, start fresh every year. Now, I don't do that specifically, but what he said after that is that after a while, what happens is that you go through all this surface level stuff first. So for the first few years, there's a surface level, like, what's the deal with peanuts on airplanes? Those types of jokes. And then it starts going like, okay, I've run out of things to say about this. So then you start talking about relationships, and then that kind of runs out, and then you have to start talking about the stuff inside of you, and that's where you get your like gold.
Yeah.
You get the really great information. And so I kind of start to do that, open up a little bit and say, like, this is what I'm struggling with. This is what I'm thinking about. I just read this. What do you think about that? And it's helped me at least. I kind of stopped trying to make content for other people and just kind of focused on, I want to make stuff that I would be more interested in looking and watching for. It's not very shareable necessarily, but it's just the stuff that I like to make.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up. I might as well bring it up while we're on there right now. We do a lot of musical guests on the show, and as I know if anyone tunes in, I'm not a very musical. I listen to music, but I'm not what people would consider normal music.
He's
I
a
don't
Metallica fan, you said, right?
I don't.
Right.
He's gonna lose some fingers. So I don't listen to like what people usually would think I would listen to, and I'm not really well versed in the musical world. And I want us to make more videos on like maybe like gaming and stuff like that, because that's what I'm a nerd at heart.
Sure.
I've always been a nerd at heart. I knew how to fit in as a kid, so it was a little easier for me because I could shy away in my room and read my comic books and be a nerd, but then go to school and still hold my own.
Right.
So was a protector of the geeks.
Yeah.
was what I like to claim myself as. But so that's more my things, because I find we're always putting musical guests on here and I'm always talking to them and I don't have insight into what they're into. I don't have background to talk to them about. I'm just the idiot here cracking jokes, and no one gets to see my perspective on stuff, because I don't have a perspective on something I know nothing about, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend I do. So usually I'm the asshole.
Yeah.
Right. So you know your role though, so that's good.
I know my role, but I want it to change a little bit to where maybe we do a game review, because that's when I can bloom. And I'm good at these sorts of conversations, and I feel like then we can advance in getting more people to watch.
Yeah. And that's part of diversifying our guests as well.
Because we have a lot of guests, and it ends up being a lot about the guests.
Yeah, that's good.
And I don't feel that we get, I don't feel like people understand us as hosts of the Lloyd and JD show.
Who are you?
Yeah, we don't vlog. We don't do a personal, you don't see the behind the scenes of what is Lloyd and JD. And I feel like that might be a better insight for viewers.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I think, I forget who said it now. It's that this weird thing happens. It's the more specific you can be about your own experience, the more broad it actually appeals to people. Because it's like, I might not got that very specific thing, but I totally relate to different areas of this.
And I think I thoroughly believe that as well. Like, I know I watch a few YouTubers, and I've seen a few YouTube advance, and like I watch one guy who games quite frequently, and if you watch him off the bat, he's annoying. You could call him annoying. He's a loud, annoying person, but I'm annoying, And
which one? Who is it?
Who is it?
Yeah.
Slipgator.
Slipgator, okay.
And a lot of his, you'll see people leave comments like, you're annoying, blah, blah, blah. But he does certain episodes where he gets really deep with himself, and he's really normal, and he's really vlogging. Right. And I love those episodes because it's a real person coming through on the video. And it appeals to a lot of people, and he gets, and that's what he was at the beginning. And, he got very generic because people like jokes, people like funny, people want to see funny all the time, and you get hate mail if you don't write something too funny, and if people hate it, then people are gonna, But sometimes he just does these episodes that are really raw, and I feel like those are the best episodes, and those are the ones I always leave a like, I always have a comment to make sure that he always makes those videos, because that's what keeps it real for me, and I feel like it's part of it in a sense, so people can understand who you are.
Yeah, I think people. YouTube sometimes gets a bad rap in some cases, because if you look at the worst examples of it, you can see people are trying too hard or not being authentic to themselves. And I think we were discussing this before we started recording, but people oftentimes take the wrong lesson from success, which is like, I have to do exactly what they did in order to be successful. Yeah. And it's very rarely that. It's more like, well, how did they get in tune with what they can do the best?
Exactly.
Right? I mean, if I was a filmmaker, it's like, yes, I could probably shot for shot mimic Steven Spielberg if I really wanted to, but that's not me either. At the end of the day, I have to be true to myself. Yeah. And that's going to shine through.
Yeah, and it's always going to be your best work.
Yeah. And I think part of the trap with YouTube is a lot of times when people are starting out, it's a performance.
Yes, absolutely.
Versus being real about themselves.
It's hard to split that.
Yeah.
They get into their YouTube. It's like, hey everyone. It's like, and they're like doing their like song and dance routine.
You've got to be super happy.
That's
it's
right.
like this super happy thing that all the time.
That's right.
I'm the happiest person in the world. My life's amazing. Blah blah blah. But then, like that's what I meant about his being raw. He talks about people do have problems. Like even if you're making millions of dollars off your YouTube page and people are like, oh my god, you have the best job in the world. You make videos for a living. You're still a human. You still feel sadness sometimes. You still feel hatred sometimes. You still feel all the emotions that a normal human feels. So when you leave fucking 8 now because I'm making millions of dollars, it doesn't make me feel good as a fucking person. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's a trap for some YouTubers is they get stuck in that thing. And I mean, it's interesting and timely that Casey Neistat actually quit vlogging this week because he felt that he was stuck in that, routine where it wasn't fun for him anymore, and he just wanted to, to essentially to move on. But I think, it shows to his character that he's able to say, I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to completely step out of this. Like I make millions of dollars. I'm fine, but I'm just going to drop it all and move on to the next thing. I think some people will actually get trapped in that and say, I can't do anything because I don't want to go back to working at wherever they were working before. I can't leave this.
It's a scary job to have when you've actually entered that realm of it being a full-time thing.
Yeah. Everyone, I think that's the goal for so many people now is for it to be a full-time thing. But when that becomes your reality, then it's like, this is scary. This is scary because the floor could drop out of this at any time.
And it's YouTube as a company, they're not very connective between their video makers. There is some connection there to as much as you need, but if something's going on behind the scenes, they don't. If you're suddenly losing views for some reason and it's a technical error, they're not going to suddenly send you an email like, oh, we had an issue. You just had a fucking issue. We lost half our subscribers in a day. And it's just like, boom, by the way, fuck you. This is what happens. And they don't really connect with you in like why this happened, what's happening behind the scenes. Are we getting... And I think the bigger YouTubers have been talking about that lately because they're all losing views.
Yeah, everyone
And they don't know if they've changed how they count a view. Is it different now? But they haven't talked to anyone about it. And that's kind of the YouTube business. You got to roll with
anything.
You got to roll with it, work it out by yourself. And there's that inner circle that are always, beef there, beef here. Everyone likes to talk beef about everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, YouTube, I think, communicates with some of like the top end YouTubers, the people who are making them like lots of money. Yeah. But you're right. Anyone below that threshold, and even some of the medium to large ones, they don't really communicate all that much. And if you reach out, it doesn't really matter so much. It is what it is. Yeah. Right. So
which is fine.
I can feel like
we deal with it, but I feel like it gets a lot of people really caught up in the, emotionally, and it can be bad. Yeah. It could really affect your work as well, and how you're perceived on YouTube.
Yeah. You get addicted to likes and stuff like that too, right? It's like, oh, I like 8 people like this.
And trying to find content that you think people are gonna like. Yeah. When I feel like it should just be, this is what I fucking like, man.
Yeah, like deal
watch
with it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's kind of rare.
And for me too, it's hard because with the Casey Neistat thing, I get bored really, really easily. Meaning that I always have to switch things up a little bit.
I'm the same way.
Whether it's topic or camera angle, or I'm going to go to a different room, or I've recently started trying to push myself to do more documentary film work. Okay. And trying to find subjects and going out and filming them and interviewing them and that sort of thing. And it's a whole new realm for me because I don't really know how to do it. Yeah. I'm just kind of figuring it out as it goes along, type thing. But that then energizes me because now I'm learning a new skill. I'm learning new different things.
Is this your full-time gig?
It is
videos?
not. No, I can't technically tell you.
We don't have to get too personal. I just wondered whether you were dependent solely on YouTube because like we were talking about.
I'm a naked model. I take my.
Oh wow! I was gonna say JD will love you. You almost just fell right. He's a photographer.
Exactly. it's pretty cold out though. It's pretty cold out. I can't say.
And Lloyd is always seeking out nude models.
That's right.
Yeah, not real ones.
That's right.
Had a couple of guys fall for it. It's true.
So, best place for guys to get to take a look at your stuff. Obviously, YouTube. You'll see obviously your vlog and the K-log and
that's right.
And obviously the documentaries that you're working on now. Is there anywhere else social media wise? Honestly, best to get a hold of you?
The best place, honestly, is Twitter. I'm like the Twitter evangelist. It's my favorite social media platform. All the other ones could go and die in a fire, but I like Twitter, which is at the Kyle Marshall. Is how you find me on Twitter.
Okay. Well, we'll post all links below.
Yeah. As always.
Awesome like that, man.
For sure. You're so good at this. That's right.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, good. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Links for us are always below.
Always below.
If you're new, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to smash that like button because it seriously helps and it makes us feel better after all that.
Yeah. That's right.
And
Make them feel better.
Yeah, it's just and I'm guilty for not liking enough.
Yeah.
But don't hang me for that. I'm Lloyd.
I'm JD.
And I'm Kyle.
Peace.
See ya.
That was fun.
Right at the end.
I know. Magic. She knows.